Reason number 1, action episode. Where are the action episodes? Where is the Joker? Reason number 2, time travel. Nolan movies. Corporate says they are the same picture. Where is the time travel? Reason number 3, I wanted a Prestige, or at least an Interstellar, or give me a Dark Knight. But what is this Oppenheimer? Reason number 4, based on a book. Everyone can make movies from existing books and scripts. We want fresh scripts from Nolan. Reason number 5, these are the expectations from a Nolan movie. Typical, nothing wrong. But this isn't a sci-fi flick from Nolan, even though I'd love that. Oppenheimer is a movie based on a book by Bird and Shreven. Yes, the movie is based on a book. This movie is closer to Dunkirk than any other film in Nolan's filmography. Once our expectations in the right direction, a wonderful movie presents itself. Now, let's get to the top 5 things that will get you pumped for this amazing craft of a movie. Reason number 1, the project manager Nolan. Nolan, like the scientist he is, brings the best talent in the world to work with him. It started with Hans Zimmer, the music director for Interstellar, Dark Knight, Inception, etc. Both seem to have brought out the best in each other. With Tenet, he chose the Oscar-winning music director Ludwig Göransson, nothing but the best, while Hans Zimmer worked on Dune and won another Oscar. Clearly, Nolan is juggling between the best of the best. The BGMs in Tenet were something new, something crazy. I listen to them almost every day. And the actors gets the finest of them. Matthew McConaughey, Michael Caine, DiCaprio, Anne Hathaway. And last but not the least, the size and scale of Nolan's films. Oof. Every movie of Nolan is a dive into a different dimension and different time. They are so big and out of the world that half the population is yet to understand the movie Tenet fully. Oppenheimer is an out and out Christopher Nolan film. Not the Interstellar Nolan, but the Dunkirk Nolan. It's a high quality production. It's intense, it's clever, it's emotional. It makes you question your reality. Not the interstellar reality, the moral reality. Bringing all this genius to his films is something where Nolan excels, not just as a filmmaker, but also as a great captain. After Nolan, I am this excited for one other element that brings me to number 2, music. When you watch the movie, you'd find that the director Nolan and the music director Ludwig Göransson are fighting on screen with their skills. With Hans Zimmer, the music was a supporting cast, supporting the visuals as best as possible. But the last Nolan film with Hans Zimmer was in 2017, 6 years back. How can I possibly remember? Unless I have watched all the re-releases of Christopher Nolan movies in the past week with latest technologies possible. Thank you, Prasads. Music director Ludwig Göransson steals the show from Nolan many times in the film. It would be obvious to you that the music director is telling his version of the story, not with cameras and actors, but with violins and drums. The sound design far exceeds our expectations. Keep an ear out for the music. Number 3, dialogues. Since the movie is based on a book, the director did not have a lot of wiggle room for his cinematic liberties. But Nolan excels in whatever he does. Even with the limitation to his boundaries, it was evident that the dialogues were overpowering every other craft of the movie. Nolan's inclusion of humor in all his films is known. This movie is no exception. The brilliant, quirky and the fast-paced debates between Cillian Murphy The brilliant, quirky and the fast-paced debates between Cillian Murphy and Robert Downey Jr. and other scientists throughout the movie is simply excellent. If at any point in the movie you realize that you are watching a first of its kind filmmaking, remember that you heard from me first. Number 4, camera and VFX. If you notice to my left and you are right, I say camera and VFX as a single point, one point. Because in a Nolan film, there is no disparity. In this movie, the camera and VFX gel like biryani and thumbs up. One Hoytama is a masterclass cinematographer. Take a look at his films and observe how many are famous for their cinematography. Add this the Nolan's vision and we get a multi-layered masterpiece. That's Oppenheimer for us. Any praise beyond this and you'd shout at me for spoilers. The actors Cillian Murphy, Matt Damon, Emily Blunt and the guy who played Iron Man all quickly push you into seeing their characters and their characters only. Like in an instant. I got lost in their conversations so many times. I remember this because the number of times I've realized that I was sitting in a theater and that is not the actual Oppenheimer talking is quite a few. Nolan is no doubt a master of screenplay. With his non-linear, geometrical and hexagonal timelines, he plays the screenplay like an instrument. And when he decides to adapt a book, it is not possible for us mortals to expect what comes next. Every scene is excellent, there is no drop, the pace is always right. Oof, I can go on and on about this. This concludes the 5 reasons. But if you have stayed this long, you get a bonus reason. Imagine a story revolving around Oppenheimer and his peers being Niels Bohr and Albert Einstein. If you are a science geek like me, you would love it more than the general audience. This movie almost feels like blurring the lines between cinema and reality. In conclusion, I think everyone in the world should watch this movie because everyone in the world is loving this movie. All you have to do is make sure you have the high and right expectations from the film.